Please rise and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. I see one person in the audience. Is anybody recording this evening? Anybody recording the meeting this evening? Nobody recording? Nope. Okay, just checking. Thank you very much. The health agent will be joining us shortly. He's slightly detained, and member Glenn La Rochelle will be joining the meeting when he gets out of work for the DPW. We're going to, first we'll jump in. We're going to begin with the chair's update and report. Chair report, Monday, November 7th, public health report. Gardner, Winchington, Athol area realizes slow overall temporary weekly viral decrease as municipalities prepare to go to the polls for voting. Our greater local state line 10-town regional area of North Worcester County has finally seemed to realize a temporary viral break of at least some sort, and as of November 3rd, our regional 10-town area, while still having some very high viral communities, has slowly come down from 12% positivity, followed by 10.5% positivity, to the newest report averaging 9.20% viral positivity over the last 3 weeks to date. The Commonwealth average at this time, as of last Thursday's report, is 6.41%. The town of Winchington, the second largest town in North Worcester County, with 10,500 residents, per the newest Massachusetts Department of Public Health viral update dated Thursday, November 3rd, documents it at 7.85% SARS-CoV-2 positivity. This is the first time Winchington has realized under 8% viral positivity since August 25th, after the continuation of the past 7 weeks, averaging 11% positivity. In the chair city to Winchington South, the city of Gardner, with its 21,000 residents over the last week's reporting period, lowered from 12.3% viral positivity on its immediate past report to this week's lower November 3rd report of 10.67% as it readies itself for people to head to the voting booths. In Tooltown, near Winchington, the town of Athol, the largest town in North Worcester County with 11,500 residents, continues to experience successive lower viral numbers than most communities around itself. Only in the 5th percentile range the last 3 consecutive weeks. Go Athol will see its residents enter the voting polls at just 5.46% positivity this week. The only local municipalities to increase in the town were the town of Westminster, which increased from 13.21 to 15.91%, based on 176 molecular tests. The town of Templeton, also to Winchington South, increased from 8.48 to 10.53% based on 152 tests, and the town of Ashby to Ashburnham's East increasing from 5% to 7.84%. Also still very high, while decreasing to Templeton's West, Phillipston in the same school district, the NRSD, registered slightly down, dropping, but still from 20% to a still high 18.75% positivity. Municipalities lowering locally in viral positivity were Ashburnham, dropping significantly over 50% in just 1 week, from 12.73 to just over 6%. Royalston lowered from 5.25 again down to 0. And lastly, Hubbardston dropped from 11.7 down to 9.20 based on 187 tests. Today, in other announcements, the town of Winchington, through the chair working with the Mass Department of Health and Human Services, today on Monday, November 7th, received 30 and 1 partial cases at 90 kits per case of iHealth Lab home antigen COVID-19 test kits at no cost to the town, to help keep children and students in our schools and help their families during tough financial times, save on the cost of expensive home viral test kits. Families should not have to choose between heating their homes, purchasing food, and then having to also pay for expensive home viral testing kits as needed. especially when we know viral numbers tend to spike up during the indoor holiday activity periods. This large block support donated and obtained by the Board of Health from the Mass HHS, or Health and Human Services Division, for the town and for our schools by the chair and by the Board of Health will help parents in that cost as intended and help keep children in the classroom where they belong. These test kits, originally dated expiring July 28, 2022, have an FDA extension to January 28, 2023, getting our students through the upcoming holiday spike at an average shelf cost of $20 per test kit, have saved the town residents and parents of the Winchendon Public School System up to over $50,000. In addition, the Board of Health also received today some 1,000 new KN95 masks as part of the shipment from Math Executive Office of Health and Human Services. The Board of Health would like to thank Mr. Jeremiah Hay, Deputy Chief of Staff, Strategy, Mass Executive Office of Health and Human Services, for both he and his staff's assistance to both our public schools, residents in the town of Winchendon. Today we got a call from Liz Latoria, Assistant of the Central Office. They let us know we had everything sent care of Marvin Johnson. We got the shipment in, the large block shipment in today from Mass HHS, which we've been working on a good month and a half now. A survey with the health agent. We got the shipment in. I immediately went over. I picked up the first 12 cases. I went right to the nurse's office at Toy Town, made a delivery. I loaded up my truck. I went right to the nurse's office at Memorial School, made a delivery where there were sick children at the nurse's office, coughing and choking, brought the delivery of cases right there. We immediately put aside 17 additional cases, 8 for the middle school nurses, 9 for the high school nurses, to immediately be delivered by the central office staff to the high school. DESE, in their divine wisdom, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, who are basically the gods of Massachusetts public schools, in their divine wisdom, and yes, I'm being critical, has, in their so-called guidance, as they call it, left all Massachusetts schools this year hanging and no longer provide testing or kits for our public schools. As I had explained to our health agent, I was very disturbed by this, and the members of the school committee know I was disturbed by this as chair of the Board of Health, which caused me, as I spoke to our superintendent of schools, Thad King, caused me to reach out, after talking with our health agent, James Abear, to reach out again to HHS and see what we could do, and we started negotiating with them and pleading with them for not only a partial shipment, but what was the max. It turns out the max Winchendon would qualify for was an additional 30 and 1 partial cases for over 2,700 iHealth Labs home antigen test kits at no cost to the town. When food and fuel prices and home heating oil prices are as high as they are, as chair of the Board of Health, I'm going to call it right out. I will be darned if I'm going to sit by and see the people of our town, and I'm very upset at the current administrations, if I'm going to sit by and see the residents of our town have to choose between, do I buy home test kits, because we can't tell if our children have COVID or a simple common cold, and do we buy $20 home test kits, or do we put food in the fridge and home heating oil at $5.50 a gallon or whatever it is in our home heating oil tanks? Parents should not have to make these choices. DESE is no longer providing these kits to our schools. I couldn't bear seeing this happen to the people of our town. We are not exactly an affluent community. We're not that financially well off. And yes, I am venting here a little as chair. It bothers me. It bothers me very much for our community. So I've worked very hard with Jeremiah Hay at HHS, and Jimmy knows we've had a bunch of calls and emails, and You know, the health agent is really, really strapped down with a lot on his schedule, and I asked the health agent if he would let me work on this on the side, and, you know, he trusted me with it. And it's all come together, and today we got the shipment at the school district central office, and I immediately got it to the elementary schools. The school district's gonna get it to the high schools, middle school and high school, within the week. But the kids are now gonna be able, the parents are going to be able to have their children go home as needed with the tests. The parents will not have to pay for the testing at all. The kids will go home sick with the tests, and if it's the common cold and not COVID, we can get the kids back in the classroom where they belong. Social skills, learning skills are gonna be protected unlike before. So,
Great news.
yeah, good news for our kids, Tina. Good news for the kids. That's all that matters. It's children first and families first, and that was the goal of this, Tina. So, we got good news today. We got $50,000 worth of COVID tests in today. And as far as I'm concerned, that makes it a great day for the Board of Health and a great day for the parents and children of the town of Winchington. And that's the chair's report.
Thank you.
So with that, next on the agenda was meeting minutes, and we don't have any, do we, Jim?
No, we do not.
There's no minutes of the meeting, okay. So with that, we have on the agenda, we have 19 Chestnut Street, a request for extension of regarding apartment repairs, and I see, James, we have a gentleman here. Could you introduce him for us as a health agent, please?
Sure. This is Mr. Jim.
Please speak into the mic so people can hear
This is
you.
Mr. Jim Bigwood, the owner of 19 Chestnut Street.
Mr. Jim Bigwood, could you please come up and approach the mic, sir, and introduce yourself? Please speak into the mic.
I'm James Bigwood. I'm the owner of 19 Chestnut Street.
Welcome this evening, sir. And what are you here for, my good man?
Well, to just give you a little background of this, I've been putting off renovation of this apartment because of the COVID-19 issues. And so
Okay.
I gave my tenants notice that a renovation was scheduled and that notice to quit.
Mhm.
And basically, they weren't happy about that. I mean, in a way, I understand. But so they, in my opinion, they came here and they, pointed out issues that need to be fixed, which I know needs to be fixed because that's part of the renovation. So it doesn't mean that I'm saying this is acceptable, but the issues aren't terribly bad that the Board of Health person pointed out need to be fixed. And my first impression was maybe since the people are being evicted, that some of these could be put off as part of the renovation because I could fix them and then tear them all out again in a few weeks. So that was initially my motivation for asking for an extension. But then I thought about this. If I am going to go to court and they waive this, look at this needs to be fixed, and the guy's won't fix anything, and it'll make me look bad. So I have contacted a contractor, and actually we're going in Thursday, and we're going to try to take care of all those issues. They're not really awful things, just that in a way I hate to go back and do things twice, but maybe that's the best way to approach it in this particular case. So most of the issues aren't terrible. They're just, I thought they could wait as part of the renovation, but they don't look good if I go to court in eviction and someone's saying, look, you won't fix nothing. I just say, no, because I'm not a bad landlord. It's just, I know things need to be fixed. That's part of the renovation that I have planned, and I had to put off because of the issues we have in the United States with the COVID-19. So I think most of these will be resolved this Thursday. So I don't know how that, I was recommended to get an extension on this, simply as a, proper thing to do. I don't know if that's the correct way to say it. But
Okay.
you're welcome to ask me any questions you want, or,
So, Jim, the property here we're looking at 19 Chestnut Street, the request for extension, as you have explained, just for the members of the board, this is an issue that is going to go to court. just so we have some clarity, we do need a modicum of of transparency for the members here. This is a difficult legal issue with a tenant who has suffered, unfortunately, and we don't want to violate any HIPAA regulations, a tenant who, at no fault, has some significant medical issues, and again, we cannot violate HIPAA. That being said, it's fair to say the tenant is challenging some things, legally fair to say, Jim, as a health agent, just call it a challenge?
Yeah, there's challenging some of the things. If I can ask a question, did the contractor give an idea of how long he's going to need to
I think a
complete
lot of
the...
these things we'll have done today, because they're like, for example, placing a light in the bathroom. There's some tiles that need to be replaced in the kitchen. The tenants aren't very clean. It's once you do some cleaning, things are pretty good, but just, they smoke, don't do much cleaning, and so
I know that there's some mobility issues there. Are they going to be able to access the bathroom after Thursday? Do you think they're going to be able to get in and out of the bathroom with the mobility issues?
The issues that you have listed that you want me to fix was the tub surround. It's made out of wood and it has some grooves in it, and then you said it doesn't have a nice smooth surface. So we were going to put it's a poly panel to go over that, so it's all nice and smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that's not, or I could take the whole panel down, the whole surround down. It's one it's been there for a long time. The apartment is kind of like a 1940s, and it's time to be renovated, I had to put this off simply because of the COVID-19 issues and just trying to be a reasonable person, but I've got to fix the place because it's time to be renovated,
And you do have the legal issue of winter is also coming,
Oh, yeah.
which the courts recognize. So that is a whole nother complication you deal with as a landlord.
So I'm hoping that there's something that's make common sense, that come out with a reasonable compromise that addresses my issues. I'm really patching things now because things need to be, brought up to date. It's time to do it.
Mhm.
So it's even in good times, it's difficult to approach a tenant that's been in an apartment for a long time and say, I've got to ask you to leave because of one reason or another, so it's
Mhm.
Barry's, when he gets angry, he just boom, boom. he's
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes.
If you don't mind, I guess, just to my understanding, most of the renovations or repairs that are needed are something that that needs to be done with no tenants or the property being absent. Is that correct? Or
the repairs
nobody
that,
in the...
almost everything on there can be brought into specs without having the, most of it can be done in the day, it's not major things still needs to be ripped out, and bathrooms need to be done more spaced. And I recognize that, just that I can't keep them there forever. It's at the point where I need to renovate the apartment, and that's been something I've been waiting on for a couple of years ago, but just everything stopped. The world stopped with the COVID-19 issues, so eventually I had to come down. If it was this year or 6 months from now, I was just going to move forward and bring the apartment back up to more standards.
Thank you.
So do you have a date where you are scheduled to go to court?
We have a tentative date, like the 18th, but I often I'll go into court myself and kind of do it in a human fashion, but I've got attorneys involved, and they approach things a whole different way. So
18th of this month, you said?
That's correct, but that may be changed, though, based upon,
So you're basically here to the board for clarification for our members to seek an extension for the repairs
I
of this
think I'll have this all
property.
done Thursday. It may be except one item, which I have to give some clarification on that. It is a older bathroom, and I can't make it bigger by moving the tub or moving the sink. No matter what you're gonna do, you want it
You only have so much
with an older
geometry.
bathroom. So I know that when you walk in, there's a couple inches where the tub sticks out. You know, you haven't got like go kind of, go down your knees to get around it. It's just, you just kind of walk around it. But the tub,
You're limited by the confines.
yeah, by the confines. So that is something I think that might be able to talk about as a reasonable approach, that can wait for the renovations. I'm hoping that's a reasonable request to make. But things here like the bathtub, the shower surround is grooved and wooden paneling, and it should be smooth. That can be fixed quickly, you know. The waistline from the kitchen sink is loose. I mean, that's really, no, that's a 2-minute fix. The kitchen flooring, I have extra kitchen flooring panels that could be replaced pretty easily, you know, and the floor repairs, fixing the ceiling, which has a hole in it, which I use for an access to the pipes. So I'm actually going to put a hatch over that, so it's all sealed. The bathroom light, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, those already been taken. I took care of those immediately. I mean, I always have those in there, and I contact my tenants a couple times a year about testing them. This particular tenant smokes, and I always have to find them disconnected, you know. So I try to do it right, but they go off and they don't like them, and they take the batteries out.
So the moral of the story is you want to get in compliance, you're just looking for a little extra time due to your complication
Yeah, I
with
think
courts.
Thursday, I think I'll be coming in on Friday saying, come on over and take a look at it. And then, except for that, the bathroom tub is obstructing the bathroom doorway. It's a very minor little, I think that's a very minor issue that can be reasonably reevaluated and perhaps, you know, wait until the renovation takes place, because it's just a small little bathroom, which was very, very, the house was probably built in 1900s, and that was probably, you know, something that was very much, no one's ever mentioned that it was too small in the time I've owned. I've owned it since probably since the 90s, I think, sometime in the 90s, but anyway, my intentions are good, just, you know, when you start getting lawyers involved and all this stuff, you know, even small stuff turns into a monster, you know, so.
I think we got the idea. Let's wrap this up. I understand where you're coming from. It's a all-around complicated issue. We have a tenant with a physical disability. We have a case that is going to court. We have a landlord who wants to get into compliance, who is seeking an extension. We have a difficult situation. We had the pandemic delaying a project, all too common for our Board of Health with other cases we now know we've definitely had as a board. Still have cases going on that are behind because of the pandemic, because nobody could get a contractor, and people weren't even allowed to have contractors, group homes, congregate homes and whatnot at the time, due to social distancing requirements by the government, and the list goes on and on. Jim, so long story short, as the health agent, this gentleman is seeking a simple extension by the Board of Health under your purview to allow him time to fix this while the courts also deal with the other issue of the landlord-tenant situation, correct?
Correct.
How long would you like to see the board under your auspice in your profession? What do you feel is a reasonable extension for this gentleman as a landlord?
Well, we can go in and take a look, and after his contractor completes the majority of it, and then I'm not sure what the board would want to do with the, like he said, the bathroom. It kind of is what it is right now. It is causing issues, but
Is this a
way to fix it
multifamily
is-
building?
two
Two-family.
family.
Is the bathroom causing any hardships on the other apartment at this time?
No,
No
no.
leaks or anything affecting the other tenant?
There's no leaks or anything like that. It's just, you know, an older building and, you know, things were different
Okay.
50 years ago.
But as the health agent, you confirm it's not causing any issues with the other occupants of the structure?
Correct. It's the first floor, the other apartments on the second.
Okay.
I got a question. Jim, could a stand-up shower be put in instead of and take the bathtub right out?
If possible.
Would that-
I would have the contractor.
I can't visualize what's going on with the bathtub wise.
It's tiny. It's, if this is the door, the bathtub is, you know, sticking out, so you have to kind of go sideways in. With mobility issues, it's pretty tough to
If you put,
get in there.
I mean, like, a stand-up shower is not as big as a bathtub, I know that.
You wouldn't fit. You wouldn't fit.
No, yeah.
We'd have to have a contractor take a look at. I don't know what,
All that's gonna be done. All that's gonna be done, you know, in the bigger picture, you know, it's all gonna be, you know, the size of the rooms and the bathrooms being bigger.
We have a question from member La Rochelle.
My question's to Jim. Has there ever been an issue with this property prior to the tenant-landlord issue?
I've never been in the apartment before.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been around a long time and I'm not a, you know, I don't have lots of buildings or anything outside, but it's, you know, it's not too often that there's an issue, or if there's issues, they're always, you know, from my perspective, they're easy to fix.
No, but my point was that it never became an issue until
Yeah,
this
I'm not someone who's in here every week.
And as the landlord, what was the correct spelling of your name again, please?
James, first name, Bigwood, Bigwood, like it sounds.
Thank you very much.
Chair? To the
Yes.
chair, if I may ask, I guess, so to my understanding, the contractor is coming out this Thursday, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so he's going to be doing some repairs on the minor issues. Do you know if he's looking at,
Put in this sheathing around, that, it's like a poly sheathing which goes around. I could either take off the surround completely, but I think he's better off
just
with
smoothing
a
it?
shower there, you know, I mean, it's, you know, so we're gonna put the sheeting in, it makes it nice and smooth, so it's still usable as a shower, you know, or the other alternative is take the surround off. And that could be a way to approach it too. I don't think that's the best way to approach it, but that
So
would
I guess
eliminate the problem.
my question or my speak, I guess I would like to just kind of say, maybe we could make a motion to accept the extension and possibly revisit it after the gentleman
Week, you'll
speaks
have
to his contractor in regards to the tub situation, and we can revisit it at a further meeting.
Yeah, so if he's saying maybe a week, then obviously we could revisit it the next month's meeting, if that's acceptable with you as a health agent.
Yep, that would be,
I know you guys, nothing's open on Friday here, but hopefully Monday morning, come in and say, let's go.
All right, so if we're going to revisit it next month, then what, a 1-month extension? Is that good with you then? If
That's
we're going to
fine,
revisit it next month, and then we can revisit it accordingly as needed? Is that fair? Does that work for you?
that works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done some talking with James, and, you know, just a clarification, what, you know, on different things, I think I've got it clear what I have to do to make the Board of Health happy.
Okay. So we have this, so would somebody like to make a motion to extend the current permit for the work being done at 19 Chestnut Street for 1 month and to revisit at the next meeting? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to extend the permit for the renovations at 19 Chestnut Street for 30 days or 1 month, and revisit it once the repairs have been done and revisit the bathroom situation.
Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Second, motion was made by member Tina Santos, seconded by member Glenn La Rochelle. Hearing that, any further discussion?
No.
Hearing now, we'll do a roll call vote. Member La Rochelle?
Aye.
Now, Mr., we have here, Lionel had said he also wanted to make a declaration.
I have to abstain
Okay.
due to that I am personal friends with the tenant.
So we have one abstain. With that, the chair votes aye. And now we have Mr. Bond
Aye.
and Ms. Santos.
Aye.
So we have 4 yes and 1 abstain. You have your extension, sir. I guess we'll see you
Okay.
next month.
Okay, hopefully, everything's resolved by this next week. I'll do my best, okay? Great.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Up next, we have food permits. Tina, I'll let you take it from here.
All right, we have a few that was on the agenda and a couple that were added, so I'd like to go over all of those this evening. The first one is food permit 2286 for Harbor Restaurant, a food service permit. The fee of $100 was paid. There was some notes, and it is, the floor is in the kitchen area, needs additional cleaning under the equipment. And to my understanding, that has been taken care of.
I have not
Or
been.
you haven't
have not
been,
been
okay, I
able to get back
apologize.
to that one.
I got confused on the other one.
So, in a case like this, it is common practice of the board to recommend the permit be approved once the health agent has done a follow-up and made sure the work has been completed. In that case, it's up to see if somebody would like to make a motion on that.
I'd like to make a motion to approve food permit 2286 for the Harbor Restaurant, with the exception for the inspection, for re-inspection.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made by member Tina Santos and seconded by member Ed Bond for permit number 2286 for the Harbor Restaurant upon the health agent re-inspecting and making sure the additional cleaning was completed. Should be noted, this restaurant was reopened within the last few years, and there was $1 million invested in the kitchen, was significantly remodernized, so I'm sure the cleaning will be the least of their practice needed, and I'm sure the health agent will guide them in the right direction. Any further discussion?
I think you get that mixed up with the carriage house, Keith.
Oh, that's right, the carriage house, thank you. I was thinking of the carriage house, thank you. I keep thinking the two of them. Yes, you're right, it was the carriage house, I take that back. So with that, the Harbor Restaurant is the one over at the end of, what's that, Maple Street, Eddie?
Yep.
Thank you. So 2286, the Harbor Restaurant, again, to be further cleaning upon the health agent to be approved. Any other further discussion? Hearing none. Member Glenn La Rochelle.
Aye.
Lionel.
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Tina.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. And Jim, when you have completed reinspection of the harbor, if you could just send a brief email to the members letting them know when it passes, that would be cool, please. Thank you, sir.
So we have the next one, which is the carriage house. It's food permit
There we go.
2287. The $100 fee was paid, and there were notes. There was a few.
Sit back when you're done.
The kitchen walk-in cooler and walk-in freezer needs cleaning.
Okay.
The kitchen floor by the walk-in freezer needs repair. The fire suspension system is out of date, which was a sticker, and to my understanding, that was taken care of. The dishwasher temperature is 150 degrees. This should be at 160 degrees at dish level, which, to my understanding, was taken care of. There was a new dishwasher installed or replaced, so. All except for the kitchen floor has been replaced or repaired. To my understanding, the kitchen floor will be replaced or repaired in January sometime, or, beginning of the year, they plan on closing for some time to take care of that.
Well, you found a lot of stuff. They had you busy. I guess that $1 million didn't go as far as we hoped.
What was the number on that one, Tina?
2287.
So in a case like this, James, where How soon would you plan on re-inspecting, I guess, would be the board's first question in a good faith effort?
Most of the things have already been taken care of, that repairs to the floor that they plan to do once they close for the season.
And where were the repairs for the floors going again?
Kitchen.
The kitchen?
Kitchen, yep.
Okay. So they replaced a lot of equipment, they just hadn't replaced the floor then, is the moral of the story, just so anybody who's wondering may know?
Yep, correct.
Okay. Okay. And the other things you've re-inspected then, since then?
Yes, they've been taken care of.
Okay, well, thank you for re-inspecting.
I'd
So-
like to, oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tina, I was just trying to
My
clarify with Jim. So everything's been re-inspected and it's just the floor at this point?
The floor, yep. the repair
Which is not something that would obviously, for clarification, anybody watching this meeting, the floor in the kitchen is not something that would, for anybody with any concerns, not something that would keep them closed by a long shot then?
No, it's, just a safety issue. I
Yep.
don't want people tripping or something like that.
Yep, we just want to clarify for anybody watching the meeting so nobody gets the wrong idea.
Yep.
Excellent. Just that way people know it's safe.
Would we like to make a motion to approve the food permit for 3 months, given the reinspection after the kitchen floor has been repaired or replaced?
Good question. When do they close down?
I don't have
After
an-
New Year's?
Yeah, I don't have an exact date, but that was the gist of the conversation was,
So 3 months, November, December, January. Most places close down, what, after New Year's? They usually have a New Year's celebration. I know they had one there last year, didn't they, guys?
Yep, they usually have a party there.
Yep, so,
Perhaps even 6 months, just to give enough time.
yeah, why don't we, Jim, how is your feelings about Tina's suggestion about 6 months? That way it would give them, and then re-inspect after
that should be
6 months.
sufficient.
And I think Tina's onto something here with that. I think she's right, that would give them enough time, because they're gonna definitely look to do a holiday party, I'm sure, like they did last year.
I'm sure.
There's a good chance, business, they're out to make money, they're a business, and we don't want to infringe on that over something like this. And, especially with their investment, and, it's not something that's going to hurt the food or anything, obviously. So, yeah, Tina, I think you should go ahead and make a motion with that.
I'd like to make a motion to approve food permit 2287 for the Carriage House with the reinspection of the, after the repairs and renovation for the kitchen floor for 6 months.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion has been made by member Tina Santos for the Carriage House, permit number 2287, for a 6-month extension of permit and not 1 year, to allow them time through the holidays to work on and repair the floor in the kitchen, to be re-inspected by the health agent in 6 months, thus allowing them to get through the holiday season and repair the floor for the health agent again to inspect them, re-inspect in 6 months. Motion was again made by Tina Santos, seconded by member Ed Bond. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Member Glenn LaRochelle.
Aye.
Lionel Cloutier.
Aye.
Ed Bond.
Aye.
Tina Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The motion passes 5-0 on the permit.
Next food permit is a food service permit, number 2288. This is for Cruisin' 12 Diner, the Rassionis Cruisin' 12 Diner. The $100 food permit has been paid, and there are no violations or notes.
I'll make a motion to approve permit number 228, Cruisin'
Second.
Diner.
What was that permit number again? 22 what?
2288.
88, okay.
Motion by Ed, seconded by Glenn.
Okay, we have a motion to approve permit number 2288, Cruisin' Diner. Fee was paid. Motion was made by member Tina Santos, seconded by member Glenn LaRochelle. There were no notes upon the inspection of health agent James Abear.
Sorry, correction, it was made by Ed.
It was
The
made-
motion was
oh.
made by Ed and seconded by Glenn,
It was-
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, motion was
It's
made.
okay.
Okay, motion was made by member Ed Bond, seconded by member Glenn LaRochelle. On this Cruisin' Diner permit, do we have any questions? Hearing none. Member Glenn LaRochelle.
Aye.
Member Lionel Cloutier?
Aye.
Member Ed Bond?
Aye.
Member Tina Santos?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The permit passes 5-0.
So the next food permit is 2289. It is a food service permit. The $100 fee has been paid for Little Anthony's Seafood Emporium, Inc., and there are no notes or violations.
I'll make a motion to approve permit number 2289, Little Anthony's.
I'll second.
Okay, we have Little Anthony Seafood Emporium, permit number 2289. No notes were made, the permit was paid. Motion was made by Ed Bond, seconded by member Lionel Cloutier. Any discussion? No questions nor discussion. Hearing that, member Glenn La Rochelle,
Aye.
member Lionel Cloutier,
Aye.
member Ed Bond,
Aye.
member Tina Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Food permit passes 5-0, all in favor.
All right, two more to go. Next one is food permit 2290. It is the United Parish of Winchendon. It is a food service permit, however, due to the nonprofit status, they are asking to waive the fees. So we would need a motion to waive the fee as well as approve the permit. And there are no notes and violations.
I'll make a motion to approve permit number 2290, United Parish of Winchendon, with the waiver and the fee because they're a nonprofit.
I'll second.
We have a motion made by member Ed Bond and a second made by member Lionel Cloutier for United Parish permit number 2290 with, as a nonprofit, to waive the permit fee for their food permit. Is there any discussion? And again, as a nonprofit, it is traditional to waive the permit fee as a Board of Health tradition for all nonprofits. No discussion? Hearing none. Member Glenn La Rochelle.
Aye.
Lionel Cloutier.
Aye.
Ed Bond.
Aye.
Tina Santos.
Aye.
And again, the chair votes aye, and again, there were no notes.
Last but not least, we have permit 2291. We are needing a check of $100 for the fee. This is for Value Convenience Mart, and this is on Spring Street, which falls under or inside of the Gourmet Donuts. There was no notes or violations.
I'll make a motion to approve permit number 2291, Value Convenience.
Seconded.
The discussion?
Seconded.
Or for the, just for a wait of the check or the permit?
We can hold on to it until we get the check, yeah.
I'll amend that permit with, it's held till the check is turned in for the permit.
So, permit number 2291, Value Mart Convenience. Did I say that correctly, Tina? Value Mart Convenience, is that it?
Value Convenience Mart.
Value Convenience Mart. Value Convenience Mart, permit 2291. Motion was made by member Ed Bond and seconded by member Glenn La Rochelle to approve the permit with the stipulation the fee and check be received by the health agent in accordance with the required payment needed. That being said, any discussion? Hearing none. Member Glenn La Rochelle.
Aye.
Lionel Cloutier.
Aye.
Ed Bond.
Aye.
And member Tina Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We await a check, Mr. Health Agent.
I have also 4 invoices.
Get the checkbooks out, here we go.
Here we are. First one would be for Mr. James Aber, our health agent. This is for the hotel room charges of $363.94, mileage $156.25, with a total of $520.19. This was the Massachusetts Health Officers Association Conference.
Now it's for what, 5/25/19, you said?
5/20/19.
5/20 and 19 cents. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And James, just for clarification of board, this is training you go to every year, correct?
Correct. This is the annual conference for the state health officers.
Could you please speak into the mic for anybody in the audience who may hear you on TV?
Correct. This is the annual conference for the state health officers.
And this is, for most municipalities, it's a big event. It's usually considered prerequisite, very encouraged to go to for town municipal health agents, health administrators to attend. You see the updates, you learn on what states, municipalities, towns, cities are focusing on, what to look out for, what updated procedures are, clinicians, all that good stuff. So it's encouraged that health agents do go to this. If any members at the time have any questions for the health agent, this is the time to ask. Hearing none, we will look for a motion to reimburse the health agent for his expenses of $520.19.
I make a motion to approve the 5/20/19 to reimburse the health agent.
Seconded.
We have a motion made by member Lionel Cloutier and seconded by member Glenn La Rochelle to reimburse the health agent for the conference totals of $520.19. Any further discussion?
Where's the,
Hearing, Ed,
no, I'm looking for the invoice number, doesn't have a number on it.
on the bill?
Like an invoice number?
Why don't you ask the health agent? Feel free to approach his chair if you need to.
I wouldn't know what the number is. It's probably on there somewhere.
Would
I
you,
wonder if that's it right
well,
there.
if I may, I guess the first one would be for the motel or the hotel kind of charges. If you look on the second page, it will have the invoice, or I guess the receipt for the hotel.
Oh, I'll just, you
And
know
then
what, I'll
there's
just,
the mileage, just to go back and forth. Is that what you're asking, or?
well, usually there's like a number, but I can go by the date instead. Someone already made the motion?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the motion was made by Lionel Cloutier and seconded by member Glenn La Rochelle for $520.19.
'Cause I usually write a number, but I'll put the date. 31st.
As long as he gets the hot dogs, right, and the hamburgers to eat. You can have the-
So,
You can have the hot dog meal or the hamburger meal.
so hearing no discussion, we'll do a roll call vote to pay the bill. Member Glenn La Rochelle,
Aye.
Lionel Cloutier,
Aye.
Tina Santos,
Aye.
Ed Bond.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes 5-0. You two can sign it and then pass it down to me, please. And then we'll wait before anything, we'll get this signed up before we proceed.
Would you like me to continue or wait for you guys to sign?
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, continue, please. Thank you,
That's okay.
Tina.
So the second one is for the MPHN, which stands for Massachusetts Public Health Network. It is for the total amount of $2,200. On the invoice, there was 3 line items: annual assessment for $700, nursing retainer for $1,000, an inspectional retainer for $500, for making a total of $2,200. And to my understanding, this is just an annual assessment.
Jim, anything you'd like to add for the members of the board in case anybody wonders where it's all going?
Yeah, mainly this is for our nursing services, for coverage of disease investigations and follow-up. The other 2 items are basically for backup for me if they have a regional inspector to come around if I get, fall ill or am unable to come in for an extended amount of time.
Okay. And in the last year, I mean, I realize we have to have for backup. It's basically, just for members of the board, know, this is literally the cost of doing business. It is expensive, but it is the cost of doing business. Municipalities have these because it's one of those things where, like some topics, you're better to have it, not need it, than to need it and not have it. because if you do need it and you don't have it, you're in a world of beans. So, Jim, how many times would you say in the last calendar year since we last paid this bill, maybe have we used them for some things? Any examples for the
Just the nursing services.
nursing services?
Yep.
Okay.
If I may, is this the same for the nurses that were used for COVID?
No, that was through a grant program, through the MPHN, who did a regional grant to hire all the extra nurses and contact tracers.
Gotcha, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve invoice for the total amount of $2,200 to pay for the Massachusetts Public Health Network for the annual invoice for our nursing services.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion has been made by member Tina Santos and seconded by member Lionel Cloutier to pay the amount of $2,200.00 for our annual cost for the Massachusetts Public Health Network. There has been discussion. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Member Tina Santos.
Aye.
Ed Bond.
Aye.
Lionel Cloutier.
Aye.
Glenn LaRochelle.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes 5-0 yes to pay $2,200.
Next two are for rabies testing. The first one is for Wachusett Animal Hospital, and this is in the amount of $100. To my understanding, they tested a skunk and a raccoon. I'm not sure exactly which one.
How much was that amount again, Tina? I was signing my name.
Oh, so, okay, the Wachusett, it appears that this was the raccoon, and to my understanding, the raccoon tested negative.
Oh, how much was each one, hon?
So the
My
first one.
apologies.
Nope, that's all right. There are two different animal hospitals. The
Yep.
first one is Wachusett Animal Hospital for $100. That was testing the raccoon, which was negative.
Yep.
The second one, Gardner Animal Care for $263, and that was for the skunk, which tested positive.
Ooh. Not too often we get a positive test, Tina. Thank you for the, I was trying to sign my name while you were doing that. Thank you for the explanation.
On that one, there was contact with a dog. The dog was up to date on its shots. The animal inspector did quarantine the dog. As far as I know, that there's been no
Good.
side effects, so.
So the dog's good. Excellent. Thank you to the animal inspector for getting right on that.
I make a motion to approve Wachusett Animal Hospital, also Gardner Animal Care Center to be paid the sum of $100 to Wachusett and $263 to Gardner.
Second?
Okay. We have a motion made, first by member Lionel Cloutier and seconded by member Tina Santos, for the sum of $100 to be paid by Wachusett, to be paid to the order of Wachusett Animal Hospital, and $263 to be paid to the Gardner Animal Care Center for the bills appropriate due. And thank God, these tests are available and they were taken care of in a timely manner. So again, motion made by Lionel and seconded by Tina for $100 and $263 for the total amount of $363 payable. Hearing that, any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Glenn LaRochelle.
Aye.
Lionel Cloutier.
Aye.
Ed Bond.
Aye.
Tina Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Passes 5-0.
And that's all I have for this evening.
Okay, we'll get this last one signed, and then we'll move on with the agenda. Here you are, Lionel. there's two bills there. All kinds of signatures tonight. Thank you. Okay, last on the agenda, we have discussion regarding monthly minutes of the meeting. This one, we are going to keep short, and we're going to keep it on point, and we're going to keep it polite. For the last year and a half, we have had a lot of challenges trying to get, due to various issues, I think is just a polite way of putting it, trying to get our minutes of the meetings in a timely manner. Oftentimes, our minutes have fallen anywhere from 1, 2, and 3 months behind. In a couple of occasions, they've even been 4 months behind. Sometimes they were no fault of the recording secretaries. Other times, there were multiple requests on the ones that were 2 and 3 months behind. Over the last year and a half, there were multiple requests to try to see if we could try to get the minutes in a more timely manner, and life can be very difficult. Life, we've been through a pandemic, we've been through some other issues, and, things have been challenging for the last year and a half. And, our recording secretary is a good person and has done the best the recording secretary can do, and there's been some challenges along the way. And it is the purview and the right of the board to make a change if the board desires as needed from time to time. And I have had multiple board members approach me one by one over the last year and a half and ask me if another person were to present their name as a possibility, and I am obligated to answer to the members of the board. If another person were to make their name optional, to present it to the members of the board, which I have done as I have been requested by the members of the board over time. This individual recently came up to me and put her name in as an option without any malice or any ill intentions, just as an option should the position ever become available. The current recording secretary, just for the record, had not removed their name from the position. It was, to their credit, interested in continuing. However, the board members have expressed to me on multiple times a lack of satisfaction with the delivery of minutes of the meeting in a timely manner, I think is a polite way of putting it. And again, we're going to keep it very polite. I believe the issue with the board members, as they have reported to me, has run its course, I think is just the way of putting it. And the board members have expressed to me a willingness and a desire to move on. With that, I think if any board members have any polite comments they would like to make, I would allow some very short, polite discussion at this time.
I'd just like to ask, can we state the person in,
Who came forward?
yes.
The person who came forward is Winchington resident Janelle Straczynski, who has previous experience working for former DPW Superintendent Al Gallant, and currently works, I believe, for Michelle Peterson Real Estate. She has also done minutes for other committees in town, currently has very solid office experience, and has given me her word that we will have minutes of the meetings in 7 to 10 days, no more than 2 weeks tops, so that we would have our minutes of the meetings if she were to ever be appointed by the board as a recording secretary, so that we would have our minutes in more than enough time to review for the following meeting, that we would not fall behind. We would have them for the following meeting and plenty of time to review in a timely fashion and manner. And then that way we would have them for the next meeting, and we would have had plenty of time to review them, gone over them, submit any corrections, and have them to approve for the next meeting while the minutes are still fresh in our mind. And again, when this person, Janelle Straczynski, had submitted her name to me, it was with no malice. It was only if the opening should ever come up. The individual did not know by any means at all, had no knowledge that the board members had been coming to me seeking alternative options over time. She had no knowledge of that whatsoever. So I did not tell her, when I spoke to her, that the board was looking for other options at the time. I had just thanked her for putting her name in.
Can I ask, do you know if Janelle is aware of Robert's rules and if she will be attending the meetings, or to my understanding, she'll be doing them through video?
Due to her work hours, like most people nowadays, good question, Tina, she will be doing them through video like most people are for most boards and committees due to work hours and work requirements. And again, she has guaranteed us that 7 to 10 days, no more than 2 weeks tops, and we will have our meetings in plenty of time to review for any corrections and ready for the very next meeting, so there is no falling behind and fresh in our minds. Yep. Lionel, you looked like you had something you wanted to add.
Yeah, I want to add that, I want to speak about the recording secretary we have now. I've known Deborah Dennis for quite a long time. She's always been right on time. Lately, though, she's had some medical problems in her family and on herself. And I'm glad to see that she is now a secretary for the town manager. But I think she would be taking on too much if she stayed on as our secretary.
Well, I do agree that she had emailed us that there were some medical issues, and again, I don't want to violate HIPAA, Mr. Cloutier,
No.
but for the last year and a half, I've had to make multiple requests that we were 2 and 3 months behind for the last year and a half, so I would highly disagree that they were right on time, politely. Anything else with anybody else?
I'd also like to just make a note that, you know, if she's going to be the new recording secretary for the Board of Selectmen, it may be a conflict in regards to us if we fall on the same day or same evening. I know she does do the recording via, you know, video for us, but I'm thinking, I'm not sure if she would be attending Board of Selectmen or she'd be also doing the video for the Board of Selectmen at a later date. So I just feel that that may extend or further extend, you know, the meeting minutes for us. So
Well-
you know, I wish, I appreciate her work and, you know, appreciate what she's done for us.
Yep.
But I feel that perhaps it might be just in everyone's best interest to possibly look into finding another recording secretary, unfortunately.
Well, the members of the board had told me that they wanted to seek other options individually, and that's why I'm here doing this, because we've had too many problems over the last year and a half. And at this time, sometimes being the chair is an uncomfortable position, and at this time, I am seeking a motion to release the current secretary from her duties, and we shall seek a motion to appoint the new prospect.
Can I ask, do we have any outstanding meeting minutes that Deborah Dennison needs to provide to us?
The last meeting has not been submitted yet. If it is not her intention to provide the last meeting, then the new recording secretary that we could appoint tonight is more than capable of doing those.
Okay, thank you.
But the problem with being behind 2 and 3 months at a time has to come to a stop.
I make a motion that we ask the present recording secretary to step down.
No, we don't ask, we unappoint. We do not ask.
All right,
We as a
we
board, we
unappoint.
unappoint.
We unappoint her as the recording secretary and replace her with Janelle.
Well, those would be two separate motions. So the first motion, so we do this legally as a board, which is lawfully within our purview, is the first motion would be, at this time, as a Board of Health, we vote as a board to say thank you for your services, but at this time, we legally release the current recording secretary as our board recording secretary. We would legally release Deborah Dennis as our board recording secretary, and we would make a motion for that.
I'll make a motion for that.
Well, you gotta speak the motion. The motion needs to be said, we would legally, make a motion to legally release Deborah Dennis as our board recording secretary.
I make a motion that we release Deborah Dennis as our recording secretary.
Okay, do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay. Hearing none, is there any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. All in favor, Tina Santos,
Aye.
Ed Bond,
Aye.
Glenn LaRochelle.
I'll abstain.
Okay, he is abstaining as, just for the record, as they are both town employees, which is totally understandable. Lionel Cloutier?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes 4-0 with one abstain. Up next is appointing the new recording secretary, which has placed her interest in the position. And with that, we have candidate Janelle Straczynski, who is appointed, has brought to our interest as a board, her interest should the position become available. And we have already discussed Janelle. She has told us again, we will have our minutes within 7 to 10 days, 2 weeks tops. Obviously, there's a couple months of meetings, this one and the one before. And she's very interested in the position, should it be available, which it now is. And we do need a recording secretary. She is available. The position is now open. So with that, is there anybody who'd like to make a motion to appoint Janelle Straczynski as our new recording secretary?
Mr. Chair, if I could ask,
Yep.
just before we do so, can I ask who will be notifying Miss Dennis in regards to our motion? And could we also ask if she is planning to do the previous monthly meeting minutes? Or if not, we could look into having our newly appointed.
I could,
Recording
as
secretary?
chair, I could send an email to Ms. Dennis as chair, notifying her the board has ended its relationship with her, and ask her if she is still intending to do the previous minutes, or if she would like the new recording secretary to do the minutes. I could send an email asking such, and I could CC the health agent, so he's involved in the communication as a CC.
That would be great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So again, with that, we are now looking for a motion to appoint a new recording secretary with Janelle Straczynski.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Janelle Straczynski, sorry.
It's okay.
I have a hard time with my own name some days, never mind someone else's. But I'd like to make a motion to accept Janelle S. as our new recording secretary for the Board of Health.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
it.
Oh, looks like Lionel got it. So a motion has been made by member Tina Santos and seconded by member Lionel Cloutier to appoint Janelle Straczynski of Winchington as the board's new recording secretary. With that, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote. Member Glenn LaRochelle?
Aye.
Member Lionel Cloutier?
Aye.
Member Ed Bont?
Aye.
Member Tina Santos?
Aye.
And Keith Kent, the chair votes aye. Member, motion passes 5-0. I shall also let the new recording secretary know that she now has a position. And once I find out from the current recording secretary if she plans on doing the last minutes or not, I will then upon that let the new recording secretary know if she has either 1 month or 2 months to perform. Anything else any other board members have this evening?
I just have one quick plug-in, if you don't mind.
No, go for it.
I am on the American Legion Women's Auxiliary, and this Friday is Veterans Day. So I'd like to thank all our veterans. I'd also like to extend the invitation. We are going to be having a ceremony for the Veterans Day ceremony at 11 a.m. at the Eugene Connor American Legion Post 193 on 295 School Street. So I'd love for anyone and all our residents and/or veterans to attend.
Very nice, very nice. And what time is that again?
The ceremony starts at 11 a.m. There will also be refreshments provided by the Women's Auxiliary or the American Legion Auxiliary.
Excellent, thank you. And with that, as this will most likely be the last meeting in case, unless there's an emergency meeting in November, and we don't see each other again until then, may everybody and your loved ones and families have a happy Thanksgiving later on this month.
Yourself as well.
James?
Yeah, as this is the last meeting in November probably, I just wanted to put out there, we're going to have a couple of COVID-19 vaccination clinics. We're probably going to also include the flu vaccine in those clinics. They're both going to be on November 30th, which is a Wednesday.
Okay,
In the morning, 9 to 1:30 at the senior center.
okay,
And then in the afternoon, 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock at the Clark YMCA. And again, this will be for both COVID-19 and flu vaccines.
and those are both on November 30th?
Correct.
So 9 to 1:30 and then 3 to 6. Senior Center and then YMCA,
Correct.
same day. Okay. And just so everybody else knows, we still have, for anybody who lives in the town of Winchington, we still have the iHealth Labs home antigen tests available in the office for Winchington residents who need them or want them with the holidays coming up. As the numbers during the holidays always track up from indoor gatherings, the tests are free to Winchington residents. Take what you need for your family, free of charge, and everybody have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
That being said, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
A second?
Motion is made by Member Ed Bond, seconded by Lionel Cloutier to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none. Glenn LaRochelle.
Aye.
Lionel Cloutier.
Aye.
Tina.
Aye.
Ed Bond.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The meeting is hereby adjourned at, well, that clock isn't right.
5:46.
The meeting is hereby adjourned at 5:46 PM.